Do you love helping me model?
Yeah, I feel really beautiful right now.
I'm glad you do look beautiful.
Not exactly what I was expecting, but I love it, Sam.
What we got?
Chicken, guys. Can you paint me as something pretty?
Yeah.
I want to look like that.
Okay. I got just the thing. How about this?
Oh, perfect. Hello. Hello.
And my grand plan is to do another rendition of the hand sword, one of my favorite paintings in 2023. I convinced my girlfriend, instead of looking super pretty, to just model a monster hand, but it's really exciting. I'll link the old video.
The first hand sword painting I used this sword. Today we're gonna be using this one. They're both real, they're both metal. This one is actually like quite real and quite sharp. Like actually like a razor. But this one, if you could see, which is really cool, it has like elven writing. Is just like a play sword. It is metal, but it's not sharp at all. Like you could just grab it here. But it's really nice. And I like how the old one is gold, this one's silver. This has sort of a different ribbed grip. The tang is beautiful and different. So this will be a nice sword. We love swords.
Man, there's really just nothing that tickles my fancy more than the prospect of an exciting photo shoot, especially when it's for reference to paint, one of my paintings. Double especially when it's some sort of fantastical fun element. Just drop a sword in my lap and I'm a happy camper, you know what I mean? But this was really exciting because I've been thinking about doing another rendition like this for a while and actually planning on doing a series, but that's for later. The past shoot, the first shoot I did with Kat to get this original photo with the original painting, it went so well, so I'm basically just replicating that photo scheme, the lighting scheme exactly. We basically got a big key light and then some sort of reflected light under it. It's a little more challenging with the monster hand because it's not super anatomically correct, but it's all about them angles.
Because getting the angle is so important, I'm actually just referring to the old painting I did, which I love. But this is just good reference for sort of hand placement, even how the fingers are holding, you know, the handle. It's obviously harder with these gloves. They don't have any of these scales on this side, so when Tori is holding it, as you can see, only the fingers are green, so I'm thinking of even cutting this part off, or I have to Photoshop it, but capturing everything in camera is the point, and it makes my life easier, but we're just gonna have to test it out and see. Do you feel pretty now?
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure those photos turned out decent, but I'm not an amazing concept artist. I can't draw a lizard or monster hand from my memory or imagination. I need reference, so I'm relying on my set design photography skills with these props to then go into Photoshop and sort of Photoshop a more realistic looking hand for reference to paint. So there's a good amount of editing involved, which I've done over the course of the last few years, but it is very challenging to get exactly what I'm looking for, which obviously would be a real life monster, lizard, reptile person holding the sword that my girlfriend Tori was holding, but my girlfriend was close enough. So here's the thing about these awesome renders, and I'm really glad I found this because again, I need as much reference as I could get, especially when I'm trying to figure out the texture for this monster arm. But my monster arm is such a small part of this composition. It's just like the first part of the forearm where there's not actually a lot of detail. A lot of the muscle comes from more up here. I'm getting a little overwhelmed for no reason because this exact part there's not much variety. It's kind of like a blob, and there usually are parts of that in paintings. You try to avoid these blobby parts. So I'm just battling with what shape I should do there, how much texture, how much veins or muscles I should put in. We will figure it out. But I am very happy with these nails. Really awesome. I think it looks great.
Good golly. I know it's taken a while to get to this point, to actually start the painting process. Like and subscribe if you're new. This is what I do, take you through every single step. This project required a lot of prep, and you know what I say, good prep equals good painting. So now we finally get to start the painting process.
This is a French cleat. I've talked about it a million times. I'm drilling it into the wood of this canvas so that it's just seamless with my French cleat set up It's my preferred method of hanging canvases, even though I do like that easel that's hanging right behind me, but that's for smaller paintings. This is a big enough painting where I could just drill this right in and it's just way more efficient. Perfectly square. That's nice.
And this is where everyone gets mad and says, you're cheating, you're using a projector. I love projectors because I'm an artist that likes to save time doing things efficiently while maintaining the highest quality, and that's what a projector does. This projector I got in like 2014 just connects to my computer. I created this original illustration from an original photo I took at my studio with original props. I did use reference to tweak it a little, but it's my own artwork, so just to get it on the canvas, the projector is the most efficient way. I could spend 2 hours just sketching it and not get 100% accuracy. I could also use a grid, which gives me very accurate results, but it takes a while, an hour or something. So this is just the easiest and best way. And I also always go back and erase things and tweak things by hand. The projector is just a really solid tool. And now I'm using black acrylic paint because I want to solidify this super precise outline that I got. And it's basically one giant process of transferring my digital artwork, my digital line work, which is my composition, onto the painting surface. And this is a really fun step because the acrylic black paint is so opaque and it dries in like 2 seconds. And actually, I really love how this line work looks on this just white canvas. You know, when we zoom out compositionally, I just think it looks great. And it got me super excited to start painting because if the composition looks right in terms of the mass and shapes on the canvas in this skeleton state, then I think it's gonna most likely turn out to be a successful painting once you add color. You never know, but that's what I was thinking. And the reason I use the acrylic is because I can put oil on top of acrylic. You can't do acrylic on top of oil. This is gonna be an oil painting, and I just like to have some sort of gray or oil ground. I just chose this gray color because that's what I chose, but it's just all my preference with prepping and preparing the painting surface. This is how I do it. You know, it's nice to have the original right above me while I paint. I got my snacks, my Cheez-Its, my lemon water, my Snickers, watching Your Mom's House, love the podcast, and we're all set up. You know, my painting setup is absolutely dialed. We're ready to start using some oil paint. Now, my palette switched from painting to painting. This palette is a little more extent. We got 2 reds, 2 yellows. We got everything I need. This is not a limited palette. And I'm really confident within this painting, the sword, because I didn't have to Photoshop it at all. I captured a really great photo with the original photo shoot with my girlfriend. The reflections were perfect. Everything was sort of dialed. So that's what I'm starting with, because there's not much guesswork with the sword. It is detailed, you know, there's reflections. We got to do all that. But, you know, I'm more, wouldn't say not confident, but more confused as to my path with the hand. So the sword is just very clear to me. That's what I'm starting with. And it's also not complex in the sense that it's only a few colors. I'm mixing this burnt umber. I have white and I have some neutral gray, and that's basically the sword. So I could really just bang this out, sort of warm up. There's going to be some colored reflections on the highlights and other things it's reflecting, but for now it's just super straightforward, and that's a great thing to start with, I think, at least. And you know, I really like how this turned out. The reflections look super realistic. The background is sort of my favorite part, even though it's the most basic part. As you can see from the old painting right to my left, which is a metal print, by the way, not the original. I like just a really dark, cloudy background. I actually am going to get darker than what I'm doing right now, but what you could see, I'm using this lighter brownish yellow to sort of create this halo effect, and I think that's kind of nice. And in a weird way, it is sort of dynamic, and I think it adds a lot. You know, I don't want any noisy, messy background to take away from the super simple, intense sort of image of this hand. So that's why I do this simple background, but I think this bloom is kind of nice, the sort of halo effect. But moving to the actual hand, Really excited. I know that it's going to be green, but from this point, which why I love oil painting is because it's such a game, it's such a battle. I don't really have a plan, and I work in layers. So the plan I do know up to this point is just the colors that I'm going to use. It's green. I'm going to make the skin green, and I have a general light and dark portion, the volume, the 3D of it, I have basically planned out, but the texture is really what I do not know, and how I'm going to accomplish that. But I'm working in layers, and the first step is really just to get that first layer down.
And at this point, I posted on my Instagram feeling very honestly excited and also frustrated. Like, I'm amped about the sword, I'm amped about the composition, just the stark contrast of this goblin monster hand on a sword. It looks great, but there's a couple of things that are just killing me. For one, this thumb is just bugging me. The nail kind of intercepts the rim of this tilt of the sword. That's a small thing, but it's gonna haunt me forever if I leave it. And then also the scales. Right now it basically looks like it's just a green monster version of this hand. I need to make it scaly and monster looking. And again, monsters or like lizards, the palm of their hand is more leathery and smooth, where the outside is where the texture. So I have to figure out how to do that. I think I'm actually gonna go on my iPad, copy this photo of what I have of the painting already, and sort of just sketch over it till I find something I like. It's a problem-solving situation, and it's only gonna be solved by me committing to something, but I like to kind of flesh it out digitally, and then that gives me a rubric. And while I clean my palette to sort of reset, I gotta tell you about Squarespace, the sponsor of today's video. The best website to build a website. If you're trying to up your game in professionalism as an artist, as a business owner, you need a home base for your ventures and creative endeavors. Squarespace has award-winning templates, 24-hour customer service. It is so professional and so easy to use. It's really just a no-brainer. I have a Squarespace website. I love it. It's where I house my nonprofit, where I could schedule classes for art classes and different painting experiences at my studio. It's all built into their platform. It's really simple, and I couldn't do it without it. They use a drag and drop grid method that makes everything seamless. The user interface and everything is just of the highest quality. With Reels and the algorithm, Instagram isn't the best place to post your photos anymore. If you're an artist, you need a portfolio, and Squarespace has amazing templates exactly for that. Or if you want to sell your work or other things as a business, they have amazing e-commerce tools to absolutely destroy everything e-commerce. It is extremely powerful. A website should be a tool, but it also should be easy to use, seamless, and beautiful. Squarespace is all of that. Very powerful. Check out squarespace.com, and when you're ready to build a website or buy a domain, go to squarespace.com/slew for 10% off.
You can just see how unexcited I am to redraw and repaint this thumb. It happens sometimes. I'm decently far enough where it's not a huge deal to sort of restructure this thumb out, but like I said, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night, and making this move now is what I gotta do. And it didn't take too long. I always overestimate how long things will take, but it's sort of taking like a step back when you're just excited to move forward. But yeah, I'm really happy, as you can see, with this sort of audible, with the palm being sort of a smoother, lighter color, and then now obviously adding the texture to the exterior parts of the fingers and the forearm like we talked about. I was happy with this decision, and it's really quick in this video, but it took me a really long time. A lot of sleepless nights. No, just kidding. Like a day or two of sort of just deciding what I wanted to do, but I'm happy with the result. I consider this project, pretty simple. It's not a giant, endeavor. Basically, paint a hand, paint a sword, that's it. But the individual problems become bigger than the overall idea, if that makes sense. And every painting is like a miniature battle or a group of miniature battles, and that's why I love it. Again, I say it all the time. Painting is like a puzzle. This was a huge last-minute decision, changing the reflected light or that alternate light source to a colder color, this blue. I thought the yellow there's too much warmth with the green, and I'm really glad I made this decision. And that was sort of a game time problem-solving decision. But that's the beauty of painting and why I love these painting projects.
I forgot that this French cleat is still attached, and it's gonna be annoying with the tape, so I'm just gonna take it off now. This is probably the most cumbersome part of the whole sort of painting experience, but I like to protect every side of the canvas during the process so I could have the cleanest sort of cut. Now we can go back for the final sexy shots. All right, if you stayed to the end of the video, if you heard in the video, I'm doing a series. So the monster lizard hands was the second one, and in this box is something extremely awesome and exciting. I hope it was kind of expensive. This will be the third hand sword painting. It's heavy. That's a good sign. Oh, it's all really greasy. Can you tell what they are yet? Oh, they're so cool. Oh my God, so these are real metal gauntlet hands, and on Etsy, this was, I think, based off of like a Sauron character. So Sauron's gauntlet, and I'm trying to get a sword, a real sword, a different one, because I only have 2 real ones. Wow. Oh my God. They're kind of hard to hold, but they're heavy and oh my God. Like, oh.
You got it?
I don't have any ability to.
Maybe that's what the grease is for. It's like the Tin Man, and he puts like oil on himself.
Yeah.
You're like the Tin Man, but
Oh
evil.
my God. I could just come a frame.
And stab me.
Oh my
Here, hold this.
God. Careful, this is sharp.
I know. You're good.
Wow. Oh my. I mean, if you're not excited for the next series, next installment of this series, you better get excited because Saruman. All right, so that's it. So hopefully you enjoyed this painting of the goblin fingers. Always trying to up the prop game, and these are just phenomenal. Be gone!